We are smack dab in the middle of one of the more exciting times in Baltimore over the last couple of decades. Of course, I'm talking about looking for that next head coach. And for all the possibilities of it being a slam dunk, of it being a home run, of it being the future in Baltimore, there also is a possibility that they make a massive, massive mistake. And this guy next to me, Kliff Kingsbury, if the Baltimore Ravens ended up hiring him, I think it would be an absolute disaster. I'll let you know exactly why on today's show. Welcome in. Thank you so much for being here. Make sure that you are subscribed and also have those notifications on. Because the second they do hire a head coach, we'll put out a video. We'll also go live. So I need you guys to be as tapped in as possible. We got 5,000 subscribers that are in the Noti flock. Let's get that to 5.1, okay? 100 of you guys who already subscribed need to turn on those notifications as well. Subscribe, click the bell button, turn on all, and enable YouTube notifications on your settings. So far in the head coach search, the Baltimore Ravens have interviewed 14 candidates at the current recording of today's video. It's been a wide-ranging view of these guys. Some former head coaches, some current coordinators, some current position coaches like a Davis Webb, a Nate Scheelhaase. You got guys like Anthony Weaver, guy who's been in Baltimore before. A guy like Vance Joseph, Kevin Stefanski. They've been head coaches before in this league. Joe Brady, seeing a lot of success in Buffalo. The list goes on and on and on. But one guy on that list is Kliff Kingsbury, who officially had his interview this week. Okay? About half of those guys they've interviewed. The other half they've just requested and are waiting to get them in the building. And I think if this team ended up rolling with Kliff Kingsbury to be their next head coach, I think that would be the worst choice this franchise has ever made. In fact, it would be an absolute disaster that would lead to nothing but the downfall of this organization. And I know that sounds dramatic. I know you think I might be speaking hyperbolically, but I promise you, everything that's coming out of my mouth, I mean 100%. Now let's talk about why this would suck if you end up hiring Kliff Kingsbury, where historically, he just isn't a winner. In fact, historically, the dude's kind of been a loser. He just got fired from being the offensive coordinator from Washington. But let's talk about the two times in his career he's been a head coach. The first time was with Texas Tech from 2013 to 2018, losing record, 35-40. In fact, he had one double-digit season. It was the first year he was there and then didn't have another one throughout his tenure. In fact, he ended his last 3 years at Texas Tech going 5-7, 6-6, 5-7. And then somehow he landed a job with the Arizona Cardinals. It makes absolutely no sense. One bowl win to his name in the 6 seasons he was in Lubbock. And it was the Holiday Bowl in 2013, his first year. Then he gets the head coaching job with the Cardinals from 2019 to 2022. Guess what? Losing record there. 0-1 in the playoffs. And they lost that game 34-11. I've got a hot take on Kliff Kingsbury that if he didn't look so cool, if he didn't wear the sunglasses, if he wasn't a good-looking guy, nobody would have ever given this dude a shot. I know that might sound crazy, but that's just the way I feel. Like, he's Coach Bro. He's cool. He's got handshakes with everybody. That's why everybody loves him so much. Like, I don't need to see anything else. We could end the video right here, 4 minutes into the thing, with those two records. His only 2 times being a head coach. No thank you. The dude's never won a big game in his life. Never. The biggest game he's won was the divisional round last year when he was the offensive coordinator, and he got a lot of help from that defense in Washington, getting 6 turnovers. And you're the offensive coordinator. He didn't win that game. Number 2, second reason. This team needs toughness. They need a new attitude. I've showed you this graphic before. I'll probably show you it 6, 8 more times before this head coach is hired. Remember play like a Raven? Remember that meant something? Passion, strength, courage, intensity, while imposing one's will on opponents with a nasty, tough, and determined style of play. That mantra is gone. It doesn't exist in Baltimore with this current version of the Ravens. And that is, or should be, the most important thing in this head coach search. Who is the guy that can get that back in Baltimore? That play like a Raven mentality. It's not Kliff Kingsbury. I can promise you that. What Kliff Kingsbury will do, he'll bring a gimmicky offense with a lot of flash, a lot of style, not a lot of substance. He's not a tough, grind it out, violent type of head coach. No, he's a guy that's going to chill. $16 million mansion in beautiful, sunny Arizona. He's not a guy that's going to be down in the trenches. This team had zero mental toughness this last year. They had zero physical toughness this last year. It seemed like guys were terrified of contact. And guys, even like Roquan Smith, seemed like that way. I don't think that Kliff Kingsbury would come in here and bring mental or physical toughness. I don't think he'd come in here and bring a mantra of, hey, go seek out contact. You know that interview clip that's been circulating from Anthony Weaver over the past couple of weeks where he says everything in this game can be solved with violence? That's awesome. That's what this team needs. And I'm not saying Anthony Weaver could be, but I just mean that mantra, that attitude. Kliff Kingsbury is the opposite of that. Do you want the Ravens to pass on them? If you do me one big favor. Hit that thumbs up button, like today's video. Cast your vote in that way, okay? Coming up, we got more to talk about with Kliff Kingsbury, but I've got more to talk about our awesome sponsor of today's show, our great friends over at Prize Picks. And whether you are starting a new routine or making player picks for the first time, trying something new can be hard. But in life and on Prize Picks, it always feels good to be right. With high-pressure playoff matchups every weekend and elite hoops action almost every night, the action never stops. And Prize Picks lets you take control. Prize Picks now has early payouts. If your lineup gets off to a hot start, you may now have the option to cash out those winnings before the game even finishes. With a new social feeds feature, you can share Prize Picks with your friends and copy lineups from winners with a single click. Here is my lineup for these weekend's games. I got the more on Josh Allen, half a rushing touchdown, and give me the more on Puka Nacua for half a receiving touchdown. Download the Prize Picks app today and use code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That's code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. Link to this promo is in the comments and description of today's video. Prize Picks, it's good to be right. Lastly, Kliff doesn't run the ball. Like, if you look at the yards, the stats, the percentages, you tell me, Joe, yes, he does, right? But, like, this is the reason he got fired from Washington was because their run philosophies were different. Everything about Kliff Kingsbury is shotgun or pistol, okay? Nothing under center. It's a lot of read options. Like, if Kliff Kingsbury was this team's head coach, Lamar Jackson would lead the team in carries, which I don't think is a good idea. I love Lamar Jackson when he tucks it and when he runs it, but that's not how this offense should be built in 2026 on Lamar Jackson running the football. Oh, so when you run everything out of pistol, out of shotgun, play actions are far less effective, and just running the football is far less effective. And you're still going to have Derrick Henry in 2026. Talk about a guy who's been effective. Over 600 carries his last two seasons. He's combined for 3,500 yards. He's averaged about 5.55 yards a carry, 32 touchdowns in 2 seasons. Look, if you are frustrated now with Henry's lack of play, his lack of getting the football in big moments, you will be 10 times that if Kliff Kingsbury is the guy that takes over. I promise you. I swear. If you're Steve Bisciotti, who are you hiring to be the Ravens' next head coach? Let me know down below in the comment section. I, personally, hiring Brian Flores. If not him, then Robert Saleh. And if not him, then Klint Kubiak. And then maybe Jesse. Those are my top 4. Let me know your one down below. We're going to get out of here, but make sure you guys follow me on socials. Make sure you are subscribed to the channel because we're going to keep pumping out content all off season long. The best place to be. Still videos every single day. Probably anywhere from 8 to 10 videos a week. We're not going to go anywhere. You shouldn't either.